Hello everyone, I've just banished Chris to the other end of the room, but I won't show you him because it's hot and he's not fully dressed. But he was going to be too noisy to sit here because he's got himself a swirly lolly, a nice lolly. I thought it might be fun to put up a little bonus video for you. I'm just watching Nanny Moon's crochet. I will put her link in the description box for you. But she's done the 10 questions tag, and it's a crochet tag. It says it was from Litza of Coco's Crochet, which I know who she is. I don't watch her videos very often, but I have watched her before. And so yeah, it's the 10 questions tag. And so I thought, if you're watching and you make videos, then I tag you if you want to be tagged. There's no obligation. And on Instagram, maybe it would be fun as well. So if you're on Instagram and you want to be tagged, then I tag you as well. But there's no obligation. I just thought it might be fun to answer. These are crochet questions, and I will put them in the description box, but I'm going to answer them as knitting and crochet. So the first one says, how did you learn to crochet? Well, I learned to knit and crochet. So I remember my granddad teaching me how to crochet chains when I was a little girl. I used to go around his house, so not this house, because this was my granddad's house, but not this granddad, the other granddad. And he tried really hard to teach me, but he also really wanted to watch telly. So it was like in between adverts he would teach me, and I didn't really get the hang of it. But I knew how to make a chain, so I'd make like necklaces for myself and necklaces for my Barbies. But I always saw my nannies knitting. My mum said she used to try and teach me to knit when I was really young, and I do kind of remember having knitting needles back then, like children's ones. I have a vague memory of it. But I officially learned when I broke my foot. That was Chris's fault that I broke my foot, wasn't it, Chris?
Was it my fault?
I was reaching up high, wasn't I?
You fell off the bed.
Yeah, and I fell off. But it was Chris's fault because his weights were underneath the bed, and my foot got caught between the bed and the weights. We were on a pull-out sofa bed, so it wasn't like a proper bed. Yeah, I was reaching up to get something on top of the wardrobe, broke my foot, and I thought, well, I can't just sit here doing nothing. My dad bought me a really hard puzzle, and I did that, and he bought me loads of magazines, and I'd read them. I'm quite fast at reading if I'm interested in it. So I'd got through them. So I thought, right, I'm going to learn to knit. I'd been trying before that, because I told you, hadn't I, that I wanted to learn to knit, and you bought me yarn made out of wolf's fur. So this lady, she'd collected the wolf's fur and spun it into yarn, and so that was really cool. I have that upstairs, that scarf, but I hadn't really properly got the hang of it. I tried, and I'd watch Call the Midwife and try and knit, but it still wasn't in my head. I was having to think about it so much. So when I broke my foot, I went down to the newspaper shop and I asked him to keep getting me the subscription of the Art of Knitting magazine. The folder is over here somewhere. There it is, just above my thumb. And so I learnt to knit with the Art of Knitting magazine. And every week I would do the squares. And some weeks it would be really difficult, and some weeks I'd find it easy. I remember knitting an egg cozy, and I went in and showed my nan. I was so pleased with it. And it was a beanie hat, like a bobble hat for my Tinkerbell fairy for ages after that. Yeah, and then learning to crochet, the first thing I crocheted was this doll here. I think I was off work. I think I'd got really unwell at work. So I had, instead of buying a knitting magazine, because I loved my knitting magazine, I still do, I just don't buy them now. But I bought a crochet magazine for a change, to see. And I loved it. And I still, even when I'd made that dolly, it wasn't in my head. I couldn't go like back and forth. And it's only very recently that I've clicked better with it. And it makes sense a bit. But in my head, I still use like knitting terminology for crochet. So it's still a tricky one. Favourite thing to make? That's tricky. My favourite thing to make actually is easy. Toys. Easy. I love everything about them. I love making them. I love following the patterns. I like looking at the patterns. I like it when they're finished. I like thinking about the character of them. But the thing I make the most is probably like socks and plain knitting, and I love making shawls. I don't get loads and loads of joy out of a shawl though. Once it's finished, I love it and I love wearing it. But it's not like toys because you can play with them. But yeah, I knit and crochet both of them, so that's fine. If you could only use one yarn for the rest of your life, what would it be? Hand-dyed yarn. That would be my choice. Like a 4-ply sock yarn, you know, hand-dyed sock yarn. And if I could only have one version of it, then I'd just get it undyed and I'd dye it myself. I can use that for crochet, I can use that for knitting. If I want to use a thicker pattern, I'll just hold it double. That would be my choice. I could hold it triple, whatever. That would be my choice. Weirdest thing you've made so far? Hold on, I'm going to ask Chris to bring it over. Are you ready for this? Chris, how much do you love this thing?
Oh, it's epic.
It's probably like one of the best things I've made in Chris's mind. Yeah. Okay, so I made this pattern up and he is knitted and crocheted, so it's perfect for this answer as well. And he's got one arm longer than the other. Because that's what happens with the things I make. I'm not very good at making things the same. Are you ready? It's Plankton. Yeah, he is the weirdest thing I've ever made. And I made the pattern up myself. So his body is crocheted. His arms are, I don't know if they're connected actually. They might actually be all one piece. His arms are I-cord. And his red bit of his eye and his mouth is sewn on. I love him. We have a game where we play hide Plankton. There's a scoreboard up in the cupboard. You have to hide him, and if you find him, you get a mark. But if it takes the person longer than a week to find him, then you get a mark. As like, you know, so the hider gets the mark. But if you find him, then the seeker gets a mark. Yeah, find Plankton. He's so cute. He is the weirdest thing I've made so far. Still time yet. Something you'll never knit or crochet. Trousers. I think they're adorable for children. I made knitted dungarees for my babies and they were very, very cute. But trousers, nope. I don't even have to elaborate on that, do I? It's not a good idea. Where do you get inspiration? So I get inspiration kind of everywhere. I just love things in shops, you know, when you see patterns in shops. I love podcasts and videos on here. But I love, the most of all, things from the past. I love the toys that they made in the past. I love that the patterns look handmade and stuff like that. So the past would be the best answer. Favourite thing you have made this year? So this year, I said to Chris, it would have been Arden's shawl that I made. And if you want to see that on my YouTube channel, it's right at the top, like in the banner bit of my YouTube channel. That is my favourite. It's beautiful. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. Knitting and crochet plans that you're excited about this year. Finishing things. That's what I want to do. I want to finish. I don't want to keep taking them over into next year. Some of my projects have been on the go for a really long time. So I would like to finish things. But I also, there's a ducky. Can you see her little head poking out there? I'm really excited that I plan, but I'm telling myself I need to finish things first. That is a vintage pattern and I really want to knit some more of those ducks and sell them in my shop. So that's something I'm very excited about. I've got lots of things I want to put in my shop. I want to make some dolls for it as well. Sorry, that was Arden. He's not very good at going to bed, so he's done the I need a wee, I need a drink, and now he's just done the I'm hungry one. Worst thing about crochet. and knitting. I think the worst thing, originally when I saw this question, I thought for me the worst thing about knitting and crochet would be the fact that it takes so long. And then the next question is your favourite thing, and that would be my answer as well. I love that it takes such a long time because it's a slow, peaceful craft, but at the same time I hate that it eats up so much of my day because I would like to do other things as well. But I think the worst thing of all is the fact that it doesn't get enough appreciation. You know, society, this culture that we're in, values fast fashion over these skills. Like, I don't know, it blows my mind that fast fashion is valued more than like handmade things. Same, like Chris said, it's same with woodworking. So yeah, that's the worst thing. And my favourite thing, other than like it slows down and things like that, is just creating something from nothing. Because when I was a little girl, I always wanted to make my own toys, and now I can. I absolutely love that. So there we go. Mopsy, do you want to come and say hello? Oh, she says it's way too hot. Pan you down. I'll show you what I'm working on. It's a very strange one. I've got all these squares that my granddad made, and I've had a good clean out at the side of my chair. And I thought, oh, I'll just start something with those squares. And so I'm making an elf hat, which might appear in Christmas in July videos, which I might do. I'm in an R-in about whether I can. We'll see. We'll see how well I feel. I'm on antibiotics again at the moment. Ugh. But July is in a few days. I might feel better by then. See you again soon, and please tag me if you make a video so I can come and watch. Bye.